said doing elections in Zimbabwe is a waste of time under the current prevailing political conditions. Stop doing elections. Elections cost Zimbabwe a minimum of $500 million. The 280 that is published by the state is an under-declaration. It's an understatement. Every time elections are done, after elections are done, the government buys new vehicles for the incoming members of parliament and for the entire executive and for the entire judiciary, the top leaders in the judiciary. That is a cost that is done after elections. That is not covered under the $500 million that I talked about. The $500 million involves the money that ZANU-PF uses to buy cars with which they do campaigns. They dish out cars to chiefs, masabuku, my chief, my headmen. Those cars are not purchased from the ZANU-PF budget.
Okay.
They are purchased from the state budget. So the cost of elections includes the cost of the T-shirts you see ZANU-PF supporters wearing. That is not from the party, it's from state coffers. So I have it on good authority that elections cost Zimbabwe $500 million. We need around $25 million to do a proper renovation of Mnangagwa Hospital. Between $25 to $30 million. Proper upgrade and proper renovations. Not what they've just done. This is just a publicity stunt. So divide 500 million by 30 million because it will cost $50 million to build a hospital from scratch, which means from the election funds alone, every 5 years Zimbabwe is able to build 10 new state-of-the-art, well-equipped hospitals. And when the elections are done, those who participated in the elections as opposition parties, they cry foul that the election was rigged. They were not allowed to campaign freely. The electoral process is marred with systemic and structural irregularities. The electoral playfield is not level. It is tilted in the favor of the ruling party. This complaint has been happening or coming since 2005. Count how many elections we have done so far. And each time, those who participate complain that the election was a farce. What comes out of elections in Zimbabwe are hostilities between the peoples of the nation. Those who support this party fight with those who support that party. What comes out of elections are graves. What comes out of elections are disabled and handicapped people who are injured through political violence. That is what we could call the fruits of Zimbabwean elections. After elections are done, those who join government after winning the so-called elections, They go there with what is called a political winter. Everybody says, I invested a lot of money to win this election, so it's my time to gain what I lost. So for the first 2 years after every election in Africa, politicians will be getting back the money which they invested to win elections. There's no development. And in Zimbabwe, people are in election mode for 5 years. In other countries, soon after the election is ended and the winner is declared, people go out of election mode. They go into nation building. They start building roads, improving the infrastructure, social policies, economic policies, security policies to grow the nation.
Yes.
Industrialize, build schools, create a conducive environment for business to thrive. In Africa, we don't. In Zimbabwe, the state interferes seriously with business. Even though they say we are open for business, but in practice, they are hostile to business. They scare investors with inconsistent laws. Nations cannot be sustained by inconsistent statutory instruments. Go and find out which other African country in 2025 issued as many statutory instruments as the Zimbabwean government. A nation that is governed by statutory instruments is a nation demonstrating executive overreach, where the president is both the president and the cabinet.
Yes.
He interferes with operations of the government by issuing out executive orders. Executive orders, statutory instruments, they are a demonstration of a nation that is unstable. Nations are governed through proper substantive legislations that are properly drafted, consulting the public, because we are a participatory democracy. After thorough and robust engagement with the people that are governed, they then debate the bills in parliament, and then they are signed into law by the president. It's a process that cannot take less than a year in normal countries. To introduce a new act, it should not cost us less than a year because of the consultations required as provided for in the supreme document, the Constitution. On the contrary, executive orders are unilateral declarations by the president. He doesn't consult anyone. He uses presidential powers to override the provisions